Well, I told you it was a see you later. Welcome back, everyone. I am thrilled to see so many familiar faces here today. It's been a while, hasn't it? Long ago were the days of strolling the green pastures of Main Hall. Today, we find ourselves on the sacred Menominee land, again in community as we did on our very first day here. Remember that photo in the chapel? That tiny pixelated version of you behind the class of 2020 flag, I think it's right there? Yeah, that one. Just months before our first midnight breakfast, the polar vortex, which I will never forgive Wisconsin for that, a monumental election, y'all remember that one, right? And so much more. At this moment, we are reminded that no matter how times change, our bonds remain the foundation of our connection to Lawrence. Standing before you all in a space we once knew, I catch glimpses of who we used to be. In another time and space, Stanley and Heather are serving ice cream at the cafe. We're hanging out at the info desk with our best friend working their late night shifts. Others are late night studying in the Pusey room while someone else rehearses their recital piece. And a few others are rolling around the floors of Esch during Margaret's class, watching the sun glistening across the Fox River. Remember where you were at this point in your life. I hope you find time to reintroduce yourself to that space today. We are Laurentians wherever we go, with the plethora of emotion this identity carries, our resilience, devotion to ourselves, and the memories we cherish bring us back to this venerated, albeit stalled, moment. It's only been 2 years since we graduated, and yet it feels like a decade. Seeking solace during a pandemic has aged us as we were forced to grow up quicker than most. This was evident when we were the lucky bunch to be selected for the pandemic class of 2020. Our pre-COVID expectations for our spring of senior year were painfully ripped away from us and superseded by the uncertainty that remains with us today. Though it may not have felt like it from our living room, we graduated into an alternate timeline no one could prepare us for. Without the expected congratulations, we set foot into the world with no ground beneath us. And this was not our first attempt at celebrating our class. What began with postponements turned to cancellation, and yet again we were subjected to the face of Lawrence's class of unfortunate events. Remember when we were sent these wonderful blue LUAA boxes filled with confetti and our invitation to our first reunion for 2021? As great as intentions could be, we were still at the whim of an unforeseeable future, and our celebration was pushed back to obscurity. With the continued uncertainties of the world, it seemed only fair to take precautions where it was due. And then we watched the class of 2021 walk. That one hurt a lot. And it's not to say that they didn't deserve that moment. Rather, it was the gut-wrenching feeling of being looked over once again. The very students we mentored, who we pictured would be cheering us on as we had the class of 2019, walked the stage we didn't get a chance to. From the sidelines, we watched our mentees achieve the milestone that we were delayed in. It's not selfish to think, that should have been me. Affirm those complicated feelings. You were allowed to feel happy and angry at the same time. What should have been a moment of celebration was corrupted by even stronger emotions of grievances and condolences from our friends and family for the 2020s. It seemed like everyone else better understood this rite of passage we sorely missed. But it was in this liminal space between what was and what should have been, even after our departure, that we found our greatest strengths and values. Our class became experts on living in discomfort. Through the uncertainty of it all, we mastered the art of letting the ladder form as we climb it. Despite the darkness that loomed over us, we persevered in the face of adversity. That prosperity manifested itself in varied ways. Some of you continued your education in grad school, fought on the front lines of the pandemic, or accepted a position you never thought you would get. Others even got married. Congrats. We proved that we can still prevail even without the answers in front of us. I'm still learning what it means to cherish this body and how to nourish my spirit. Wherever we are in this process, our determination in creating, loving, no matter the distance, and daring to imagine a new way of living continue to define us. We actualize dreams we never planned on having. We pushed forth in the best and worst of times, inspiring others with our capacity to carry on. It's difficult to speak for a class that has been defined by such incredible loss and painful uncertainty. Grief quickly became a cornerstone of our class. I hoped our reunion would occur at a time where we moved beyond that. Yet the ailments of our nation and the imperfections of our inheritance persist. Where children fear they may not return home from school, Black Americans are continuously preyed upon, and Roe versus Wade was overturned yesterday. We just can't get a break. And there is no doubt someone in this space has lost someone to COVID, family, friends, or neighbors, and its collateral damage it brings with it. Our nation treads along divided lines as our leaders fail to protect us. We are living in an epidemic of moral failure, discriminate suffering, and targeted attacks on our humanity as we know it. It's daunting to say that this is our world to fix, but I am moved by our drive to try anyway. Despite not having a formal rite of passage, we have proven our worth as scholars and as deserving individuals. Time and again, our trailblazing tendencies demonstrated that we do the work for a purpose greater than ourselves. Accolades were inconsequential to the demands of our new lives, and life stops for no one. Regardless, this assembly was manifested by a labor of love to fight for what was earned. With the advocacy of the community leaders like Lila Purtle, an alumni group chat on Facebook, Matt Ballmer and his incredible team, and faculty marshal Julie McQuinn, we made today happen. Laurentians across the globe banded together to celebrate us because our work here made an impact on the legacy of Lawrence. We are here to recognize that today. Thank you for making this moment possible. This delayed celebration reminds us that nothing is guaranteed. It is evident that the cost of the past 2 years is immeasurable. In addition to the fellow graduates who could not be here with us today, we also mourn the loss of friends, family, and the absence of those who we hoped would witness our commencement. This moment is the accumulation of what is now a full 6 years since we matriculated. Let us honor their efforts, past and present, as we honor ourselves moving forward. Take inventory of the communities you come from and the strength that stems from them. Cherish those around you as you continue to lead with love. Appreciate the streams that fill your spirit and drive you closer to who you hope to become. This celebration is not meant to ignore the loss and absences we feel here, but perhaps we may take a breath as we acknowledge those who helped us get to this point beyond Lawrence. Relish this congratulation and continue celebrating your accomplishments. We mattered through it all, no matter how small the world made us feel. We are a generation of loss, but we are not lost. For all that we lost, we became so much more. As we allowed the ladder to form above us, we let go of post-grad plans and instead took on the side quests that would mold us. These journeys were sacred and uniquely our own. This is typical of the grieving process, as it is not linear. Acceptance is also a part of that. We understood that this moment may never happen, and yet here we are, making the improbable possible. Endings are a part of our journey, thus making this commencement ever more vital. I am in awe of our power to be vulnerable here with each other today. Taking a step away from your life to commemorate your past is a testament to the self-love and affirmation necessary for our self-preservation. We gave ourselves permission to release these painful memories and experience closure for this chapter of our lives. At this moment, we are in the presence of a community that woke up today with the intent to celebrate us. That was a choice. Just as you made the choice to be here on this day, do not doubt the power of your impact here. Our class did not just bring our light, we became the guiding light for how humankind is able to persevere in the face of uncertainty. We commemorate the prosperity that arose from our growing pains. Recognize that this person who would have walked this stage in 2020 is not the same person walking this stage this morning. The world is different now, and so are you. Being with you here, I am engulfed in the light that we harbor as it shines brighter than ever before. We know better than most graduates that life is full of peaks and valleys. At long last, I hope you can enjoy this view from the summit. Thank you.